Finding that balance between intensity and recovery can be the difference between beating yourself down, not seeing much change, and leveling up the progress consistently. It's taken me a long time to figure that out because I've been influenced by that no days off and that train hard every day mindset. Doing crazy volumes arranged with a ton of stuff. I'll get into that later and explain what changed and how it has impacted my progress compared to the way I used to approach it. But first, I'm going to talk about someone who has experienced a constant beatdown with not much in return. I had the same experience, mindset, and everything as well. I'll talk about mine after. First, I want to give a shout out to Hudson. That's where the inspiration for this video came from. It sounds like you've figured out this balance as well based on what you've told me. So keep up the good work, my friend. We've had some pretty down-to-earth, unfiltered conversations about training and life through the DMs on Instagram. He's from South Africa, but I think he's originally from the UK. He's a fellow sandbagger, likes to make cocktails with the kettlebell and his own body weight. So he messages me, explains how he's been training for 5 to 6 years, looked himself in the mirror, and hasn't seen very much progress. He also trained with that no days off approach with endless high volume calisthenics, burpees with sandbags and kettlebells. The mindset of not training enough. If I take a day off, I'm going to lose gains. Just loads of burpees, running, and all kinds of stuff. It's kind of like what I did. Never having time off. Always thinking of not doing enough because he's not seeing the gains. But recently, he found a video by a 50-year-old natural bodybuilder explaining his training, and it consisted of the intensity side of that 3 times a week, 15 to 20 minutes max, because the body can't sustain more than that. You can't recover from it and sustain a routine of that every day. So that got him thinking. Maybe he's been beating himself into the ground with the more mentality. So after watching that, he got an epiphany to cut back his training to 4 days and said he felt exponentially better. He said he found himself not having the time to train more than that and then really wondered how he was fitting in all those extra days. That can really give you time to focus and do other things in life as well. There's definitely more to life than just training all the time. Personally, I have a ton of other things to do besides train and make videos on here. So he's 35, a few years older than me, and realized he can't keep beating himself into the ground. So like I said, training-wise, Hudson does all the modalities of sandbag, kettlebell, and bodyweight I do as well, including the fine extracurricular activity of rucking. Sounds like you found your sweet spot of balancing intensity and recovery, so keep up the good work, my man. And I appreciate you reaching out to me, supporting my channel, and enjoying my content, and it's been a pleasure interacting with you. So that's Hudson's experience. I had the same one, where I just beat myself down 6 to 7 days a week trying to do more. I guess that's the American mentality and approach to life. I can't say it was overtraining because I never experienced the signs. I was training like that well before I was on here with the sandbag. Started on here at the beginning of 2024, so you can go back on my channel and see how my training has changed drastically, especially in the workout splits I put on here. One of them is 7 days made out of 2 videos, and the other is 6 days and a lot. Just a complete beatdown without any time for recovery. I was pairing heavy sandbag with heavy dumbbells, doing Murph volume calisthenics twice a week, which is 20 sets of 5, 10, and 15 of 3 moves. Typically a push, pull, and legs move. Just trying to add as many moves as possible. Just withered me down. I imagine I lost some muscle along with that. I went from 193 to 178 pounds. I was already lean as it is. I didn't have any fluff to really lose. I did get pretty cut though. In my opinion, I don't look like someone that needs to be focused on that though. So what changed? Well, January 1st, 2025, my son was born, so I cut my training back to 4 days and train when I'm away during the week to make myself available to get up at random times during the night, going through that newborn phase there. And I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast episode with Firas Zahabi on it, and he explained the consistency over intensity approach. And that made me rethink the way I was doing it. Everything I was doing or have ever done up to that point and everything I was taught. It was an eye-opener for sure. So I decided to take that approach into my own training and try it out. My progress has compounded compared to what I've always done. Hard and intense, balls to the wall, 6 to 7 days a week. I just felt like I was hitting a wall in the entire time. Just chronically beat up and tired. Never really actively recovered as much because I left no time to. All it was to get up at 3 a.m. and train hard every day because that's all I knew. At the time I'm making this video, now it's 7 months later, and I feel better overall on a consistent basis from cutting down training days and the moves in a single workout. Sandbag lifts has become much stronger overall. Bodyweight exercises have improved as in being able to do more reps unbroken, but I don't really track that much though. I focus on the sandbag and strength as far as progress goes and use the kettlebell and bodyweight to fill in the gaps for press work and functional movement in general. So I'm going to talk a little bit about recovery here. So in a 4-day split, that leaves 3 days to recover. I don't really organize it as much as training. It's just a matter of get up, get out, and move, whether it's light rucking, walking, swimming, treading water, or just experimenting with different movement patterns in the water. Keep the bands in there, do some mobility with the PVC pipe. I add it in throughout different parts of the day. The soreness and stiffness is different after every week. Sometimes it's bad in the upper lats, the traps, and the rear delts. Sometimes it's in the quads, hamstrings, and my back gets stiff a lot. I'll foam roll the worst areas usually. 3 days is plenty of time to break up all that I've found. I always address different areas depending on how bad they get beat up, depending on what I did that week. During the week, it's pretty much a chaotic beatdown and madness between training and rucking. The weekend is just time to relax, rest, and break up any soreness or stiffness and get ready for the next week. That's the routine I've had for the past 7 months, and the progress shows. It's all here on my channel if you like to check it out. I think social media can be a trap because you can get on a feed anywhere and see people all the time doing crazy lifts, crazy stuff, intense stuff, and think you have to do that and be like them. A lot of that I think is for show, sometimes might be for attention, I don't know. I don't care about any of that. It's not a show, it's just real life training every day to me. Anything I've posted on here, it probably looks crazy or insane. It isn't sustainable every day for myself. There's a lot of training, failures, and preparation that led up to that, and I prepared for it and planned it. Definitely not something I would do every day. Regular training is consistent, steady, and at roughly 70% of capacity, and going 100% every 8 to 12 weeks, depending on what I'm doing. And that's how I've adapted my body to handle that kind of volume and load I normally train at. Some days you just don't feel it, you need to adjust the volume or intensity to still get some work in, and that's okay. Nobody cares because it acts as recovery in a sense to get back hitting it hard and heavy the next week or next day or whenever. I show the majority of my workouts in shorts on here with some kind of description, message, or something. It's all about finding sustainable moves, volume, and keeping them minimal because more might not be better. As long as it's well-rounded, as in good balance between pull, press, and legs and conditioning, no reason it shouldn't work and you shouldn't progress. And that's what I've learned. And I don't wish I would have known that when I started. I'm glad I went through that because pain and failure are really the best teacher I've found. And that's with anything, I believe. A concoction for all-around growth. So that's all I got. If you have anything to add, any questions, leave it in the comments. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next video.